Hi. What does curd rice, an engineering degree, tattoos, and an obsession about Japan have in common? Well, for me, these dots form a full circle. Hi, I'm Kavan Kuttappa. I'm an engineer turned chef turned entrepreneur, and this is my story. So, I was born in South Bangalore, and I was born as a Kodawari. So, I was a Kodawari boy in an Iyengar household. So, my staple food was curd rice and a lot of meat. But this curd rice component never really left me. In engineering, I think the second year, I had this relapsing hepatitis, which was like jaundice, but it didn't go away. And because of this, I was on a soft diet for a year. So I ate curd rice for about a year, and I was so inspired when I got a job at the South Indian restaurant called the Permit Room. We made a dish out of it. First slide, yeah. This is the dish. This is spheres of curd rice, and it's served with some pickle and some potato sticks. So why I speak about this dish is I feel like it embodies all the experiences I've had in life as a person. So the engineer in me knows that this is a 0.5% sodium alginate solution at 50 degrees, and you drop a 2% calcium lactate solution mixed with curd rice to form these spheres, right? And as a chef, I know how to present this with pickle and potato for the texture break. But the nostalgia of all of it is what counts. It's curd rice all over my life, everywhere. So we made a dish out of it. But one of the earlier experiences of food in my life was in school. We had this arts and crafts class where we had to cook something and present. This is in 7th grade, maybe I was like 12 years old. And the class was divided into boys and girls for some reason back in the day, and the boys were competing against the girls. All the boys in all the classes did lemonade because lemon, sugar, and water, it was really simple. But I took inspiration from this ad that was on one of these magazines, and that was this, right? This is the ad. So Monaco was a biscuits that you used to make canapes. So what we did, we asked one of my friends to make chutney, one of my friends to make some cheese, and we put it all together, and we made canapes for the whole class. It was a runaway hit. So this is where we can talk about inspiration and in how you interpret it, right? So my inspiration came from a Femina magazine, but the interpretation worked. So that's what it's important, how you interpret it, right? But this journey of food and love for food continued through engineering and school. And then what made me decide to cook, or how did I decide to cook? It was during placements, right? I was looking at people from different engineering groups like civil, mechanical, and they were all sort of applying for software jobs because at that point, that's what was happening. And I realized, why would I be coding if I can be cooking? And I just realized, let me go with this. And then I finished my engineering and applied to cooking school at the CIA, which is in New York. And I got into the school with a small scholarship and all, but I had to apply for a student visa. Now, the embassy didn't believe that this engineer boy who wants to go study cooking. So I didn't get my visa the first time. And I was really sad, but I had to wait a couple of months before I apply again. And I did apply, and then I think they rejected it again. So I took some time off because I had said no to whatever little engineering jobs I had, and I had decided to cook. So I took some time. I worked at a small restaurant in Bangalore, and then I applied again. And third time lucky, I finally got into the CIA. And the school, as much as it's known for its curriculum and its syllabus, it's more popular for the network you can build out of there. I was working in some of the finest restaurants in the world at that point of time. And the experience you gain, you see what food can be in its pinnacle at that point of time. And I got my dream internship job at the Levin Madison Park, which then went on to win the best restaurant in the world in 2017. But where I actually learned what I'd actually gotten myself into from engineering to becoming a cook is at this restaurant which is called the Little Nell, which is a ski resort. And I landed up there peak mid-December, which was like peak winter season. So I was working 14-hour days, and I was working maybe 40, 45 days straight without off. And that's when this incident happened that really rocked my world. And I was working the grill, so there's a grill and there's this deep fat fryer. A deep fat fryer is like a big pot of oil which is at 180 degrees Celsius. And I happened to slide off a pan from this and it fell there. So it splashed all this oil on me and I burnt half my face off. And I was rushed to the hospital and I was taken care of. And I came back to the restaurant to collect my bag. So this is the conversation I had with my chef. I said, let me finish my shift. So now this is sheer will or stupidity or the fact that I was hopped up on painkillers, but I wanted to work. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes it takes this sheer grit to follow your passion and continue. Otherwise, it's quite not possible. So the small trigger warning, I think I have a picture of what happened. I'm going to shift it out quick. That was what it looked like. And the icing on the cake literally is that it happened on my birthday that year. So while all this was happening in the US, there was a large food scene that was building up in India. The kind of chefs that were coming here, the kind of food that was being made was upping its game, so I wanted to be back home. So I came back home, I started working for this restaurant called Olive Beach, and the chef was called Manu Chandra. This is where I learned what it is to be a chef in India. It's very different. The resources, the infrastructure is very cut out very differently. So I learned how to be a chef here in India, and when I was working in Olive is when I got a chance to work for this South Indian restaurant called the Permit Room. The Permit Room was different in the sense that it celebrated South Indian food for what it was. South Indian cuisine is very rich and diverse and has very rooted structure, but it's often ignored and sidetracked and all that. So what we did was we had a lot of fun with South Indian food. We served rasam in French press cups, the curd rice is from there. And it took some time for people to accept it in Bangalore. In Bangalore, to serve South Indian food, quirky is difficult, right? So we were at it for about 3-4 years. And at the end of 4th year, I think in 2020, we won the 22nd best restaurant in the country. So these efforts paid off, right? And food is an art, right? Another art form that I'm really fond of is body art. So it was tattoos. What tattoos led me to do is it got me to Japan for some reason. And there was this artist that was in Japan that I was really fond of, but he was booked years in advance. So a friend and I decided to book this artist 2 years in advance. And we planned our trip around it. Then we realized I can't afford him. So I did end up putting a recurring deposit to go visit this artist. And we finally got to Japan. What happened in Japan is I found a newfound love for ramen. What is ramen? Ramen is Japanese noodle soup. It's a one bowl meal of goodness that will probably elevate any mood that you're in. So I was so obsessed about this ramen, I think we ate about 30 bowls of ramen in 20 days. And we came back to India full of ideas and about 8 kgs heavier. And this concept was there in my head that I want to do ramen. But obviously I got back into work and I didn't have time. So cut to the first lockdown, right? When all restaurants were shut. We didn't have anything to do. I was sitting at home. I started making ramen in small batches at home. And I was to give it to friends, send it out to some family and all that. And what happened was I realized this is what I want to do. Now, I was about 34, I had a good job, but I had this passion project on the side which I really wanted to do. So I took a call. The joy of creating something from scratch and actually nurturing it is unparalleled. So I took a call And in the second lockdown, I actually started this brand. I quit my job. I started this brand uh, called Naru Noodle Bar. Let me talk a little bit about that. Oh yeah, that's me 10 years ago. But huh. So this is the brand I started, right? So Naru in Japanese means uh, to grow, to attain, and to reach. But I heard this word so much in my household, which is why I named it. My dad's name is Narendra, so my mom calls him Naru. And she keeps calling him all the time, so I decided to call it Naru Noodle Bar. If you see the logo, it's like a bowl of noodles with chopsticks in it. But if you look closely, the noodles form the letter Na in Kannada. So this was the concept behind it. I think it's about 11 months to the date that I've started this, and I'm 1 month away from actually realizing my dream of owning my own shop. So what I what I want to leave you with this is this word or concept called Kodawari. Kodawari is the relentless devotion to one's art and craft that that can only be achieved by years of this dedication. I'm not I'm not saying I preach Kodawari, but at some point we should all aim to get there where we are so devoted to one's arts and craft that it actually makes a difference to everybody else around us. And I just want to say, if you want something really bad, I feel like, and if you have the desire to achieve it, you just need to keep at it. Be it a college interview or a dream intern site or a silly Japanese tattoo appointment. Just keep at it and you'll get there. Thank you.